It's funny, isn't it? You can be having a perfectly relaxed journey to work when all of a sudden the person next to you coughs. You hadn't paid them much attention until this point, but now you look across at them and sure enough, they don't look particularly well. Ordinarily, this would prompt the usual thought of self-preservation. Gee, I hope I don't catch that. But today, the newspapers surrounding you are all about the dangers of a new life-threatening disease, and all of a sudden, your journey to work, your open plan office, and the interaction with the coffee vendor just now take on a far more menacing front. Now, we're not saying you shouldn't be taking precautions, but we are saying this is an excellent time to pause and recognise our biases too. Because it's worth recognising that during times of amplified concern, our anxieties begin to manipulate our beliefs, empower our biases, and influence our behaviours with those around us. They bring out unconscious biases that we never knew we held and can provoke behaviours that don't show us at our finest. If these beliefs go unchecked, we may soon notice your behaviours changing towards certain types of people. Maybe you hesitate with that handshake, choose to stand rather than take the vacant seat next to the person of a particular ethnicity, when logically you know that viruses do not discriminate, therefore the question is, do you? The ladder of inference is a great way to recognise when your unconscious beliefs are running the show. Imagine your unconscious thoughts are rungs on a ladder. We all start on the bottom rung with rational observation. For example, Dario has just sneezed. The next rung moves a little bit away from the facts and starts to include your own assumptions. Dario's suffering from a cold. Up another rung and we remember that Dario has just returned from visiting his family. And before we know it, we're at the top of our ladder and Dario is a dangerous human who's going to infect us all. At this point, you are far from that original grounded observation. Being this high up, you have two options. A behavioural reaction, such as scowling, exhaling loudly, or maybe leaving the office. But let's say you take the second option, and rather than reacting, you pause and consciously seek information that contradicts the belief that Dario is going out of his way to infect you. For example, Dario's just sneezed into the tissue rather than towards you. Great, that moves one rung towards logical thinking. Now for Dario having a cold. Well, it's that time of year. You'd be hard pushed to find anyone that hasn't had a cold recently. And to be honest, it's not sneezing that signifies corona infection. Now Dario's just returned from visiting his family. Okay, so Dario's Italian. But do you have any idea where his family live? Nope, not a clue. So that's hardly a rung built on good solid facts. So, Dario's a dangerous human being who is going to infect us all. Come on now, do we even really need to explore this one? It's important to recognise that on the whole, our risk perception system does a pretty good job. We're still alive after all. But by understanding that our hazard perception stems from our beliefs, which are formed from our biases, it's sensible to remember that our facts can be subjective, emotional, and prone to the occasional misreading. So, as you go about your day to day, yes, be vigilant, but also keep yourself in check by getting curious. Ask yourself regularly, what should I know? What could I know? When it comes to moments of bias, make a mental note of your behaviours, your interactions, and your choices. Because after all, we're all in this together. To discuss how PDT Global are helping organisations to keep their training schedules on track, contact us today to learn more about our advanced digital and live virtual classroom solutions.